Hello everyone and welcome to Becoming Wolves. Today's topic, usury. So what is usury? There are a couple different definitions of usury, and there's a long history about usury. It's basically interest. And there are different definitions of what constitutes usury, and I'll tell you why that matters. When Joseph served under Pharaoh, he instituted a 20% tax. 1/5 of everything you produced went to Pharaoh. And it is believed that this tax eventually led to the enslavement of the people of Israel. And they could not pay back the debt that they had. So they ended up working that debt off and becoming slaves of Pharaoh. It is not specifically written in Scripture, but that is the understanding. That is, I believe, a traditional understanding of the situation. When the people of Israel left Egypt, they took more loans with no intention of paying it back. And in so doing, they took spoils from Egypt, which is a good thing. When God gave the law to Moses, he commanded Israel to not participate in usury, to not charge interest on loans, among other Hebrews. But they could charge foreigners. And they did. And those that were greedy took great advantage of this. In medieval Europe, Christian kings forbid the practice of usury, the practice of charging interest, especially compound interest, when giving loans. And so a market opened up for loan sharks. And the only people that were really good at doing this and had the capital for this and didn't have the religious inhibitions to do it were mainly Jews. Not exclusively, but mainly. People say that there's a shred of truth in all stereotypes. I found this to be true about Americans when I was in foreign countries. And I lived part of it and tried to live the good part of the stereotype. But in saying this, it doesn't mean that stereotypes are universally true, just that there might be some basis for it. And in the case of medieval Europe, there was. And when the loans became too much and the people were being oppressed, the king would kick out the loan sharks and they would go to another country and do the same thing from scratch. And so that is one reason that many people of Jewish blood are in banking and have been in banking for centuries. It started way back and it continues. Not all, but there are some. And then in the 1600s, absolutism started to come into play, and mercantilism also came into play. And so the idea of accepting loans as a Christian with interest became acceptable. And as mercantilism turned into capitalism, it became even more so. And now we have extreme capitalism. I am a firm believer in private property, in owning property, in owning and keeping what your hands labored to bring. But what compound interest does when it comes to loans is it steals. I've seen many people slaves to their debts, to federal government, to individuals, and to institutions. Our college debt system is one of those things. Mortgage systems is another one. Let me give you this example. Somebody offered to sell me a house. Not a great house, but a house. A double wide that depreciates. They offered to sell it to me for $200,000. It came with an acre of land. I didn't think that was a good deal, but who am I to say what they say is valuable? At the interest rate that they were asking for a 30-year loan, I would end up paying $500,000 for that house. That is insane. And yet it is common practice. It is evil. And yet it is accepted by Christians. Because it was a Christian that was offering me this loan and he thought he was doing me a good deal. But it wasn't. He was asking $500,000 for this house. Yes, he was saying pay it off in 30 years. But if he had asked for 10% over asking price and payments, it would have just been like $220,000 that I could pay off and live my life. But instead, for 30 years, a third of my life, I would be paying off this debt and the interest. And the interest makes the actual loan not worth it by any stretch of imagination. For something that would be completely ruined by the time that I was done with the loan, I'd have to replace the entire thing. So what about usury? It is against Scripture. As Christians, we should not be participating in usury. We should not be charging each other these loans that make the price of a car double, the price of a house double. Ask 10% above what is there. Or ask the exact price, and they'll pay it. But don't ask this insane compound interest fuckery. Stand up. Be men of honor. I'm not the only one under this system. I've escaped it thus far. Mostly. But it is still the system that we live under. And as Christians, we are called to something higher. We are called to love our brothers and to not place them in debt, in slavery to each other. There are disagreements about what exactly is usury. The Christian friend that offered me the loan at that compound interest rate didn't think there was anything wrong with usury, but it is spoken very strongly against in Scripture. There are other people that say that some usury is okay, some interest is okay, and then there are some that say no interest. You have to give of yourself. Personally, I think that if someone can't pay it immediately, that you can charge a little bit more. But compounding it and taking advantage of them, making their lives so they will not grow higher, so they cannot overcome their financial situations, that's evil. And that is unbecoming of wolves of honor. Say no to usury at least in what you have power to do. Thank you for listening. Let us all become wolves of honor, and together, as a pack, we will win. God bless you. Thank you.